Daze Unscripted. We're loading in. We're loading in. We're loading in. I don't know if the people can see us, but they can most certainly hear us. It's Daze Unscripted. Another Sunday's back. 2:30 Eastern Standard Time every Sunday. It's AT Lock, Willie B, and our guest for today, the one and only DJ Smillz out of Cleveland. What's up, Smillz?
What's good?
How you feeling today?
I'm here.
Yo,
I woke up this morning. I'm here.
Great weather we're
That's
having.
a blessing.
Great weather.
Welcome
I'm
to
going to
Ohio.
the beach later.
Yeah.
I'm going to the beach later,
Don't
by
flex,
the way.
bro.
Hey, Smillz, introduce yourself out there for anybody that doesn't know what you got going on, brother.
Man, I'm DJ Smillz.
Yes.
I've been DJing for about almost 7 years now.
Dang.
I mean, just blessed to have the people that's looking out for me. AT for sure. I mean, especially when I came up to Kent, he was the guy on the scene. You know, he took me under the wing, especially with BSR, and then him being the mobile DJ director. You know, just put me on valuable information. Just, I mean, it's a treasure. It's a blessing. You know what I'm saying? Just for me to be here right now.
That's tight, man.
Feel it, bro. I seen the Smillz skills from an early. The second we met, I was like, yeah, this man, he gonna be one of the hottest DJs in Cleveland, and all you've done is prove me right. So I had to bring you on. You long overdue, and we're gonna spotlight exactly what he's got going on later in our regular show that will be dropping. So stay tuned for that later in the week. That's on the Q Brand YouTube channel. If you late to any of our videos, we honestly don't know where you've been at, but it's cool. You can still go check them out.
But welcome.
Yes,
Yes,
welcome.
yes.
This is Daze Unscripted, and today, just like we normally started off on Daze Unscripted, album of the week, I believe it's Stacey Starr, aka Locke's pick.
Man,
Yes.
throwing all types of governments out there. But yeah, Murray. That was my pick for this week. Murray, Street Sermons.
Yes.
He was actually spotlighted by Apple Music for their Apple Up Next series, I guess, and they do like a little spotlight on some of these smaller artists coming out of Fayetteville. Only real artist I've ever really seen come out of Fayetteville besides, Cole talking about like I'm from Fayetteville situation. So it's interesting to see him coming out with a whole different type of sound as well. We were talking about this earlier. He almost has like a mix of like this Southern, but it's like this R&B, like gospel. It's like all these type of like these mixtures in there, but it honestly sounds pretty cool. It's pretty cohesive. The album itself is really well done. No features. I didn't realize it till today. I bumped the album all week, but I didn't realize till today that there were no features on it. So that's props to him. Maybe it's a Fayetteville
thing.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe it's a Fayetteville thing, but they just don't want nobody. He like, you don't deserve to be on the track with
Our
me.
music.
You feel me? But I mean, props to him because the songs, they diverse, man. He came at it a lot of different ways. He got some waves in there. He got some like radio friendly tracks, a lot of radio friendly tracks. His whole sound really to me is radio friendly. So I'm surprised that I haven't heard of him before, but I think the reason why I haven't heard of him before is because of the fact he hasn't really dropped anything. It looks like this is his first album he dropped on Apple Music, at least from what I can see. And he has a couple singles, but they all singles from the album that he's dropped in the past year. So I think this dude is on his way. You know what I mean? I'm excited to see what he do. Do you have any standout tracks from the album?
No, I don't have any standout tracks on this one. I did like how like the general messaging was like quasi positive, kind of like
For sure.
Making it out. He had like some tracks were kind of like kind of getting money, but it was kind of like how like getting money is like looking out.
I have to get money.
Yeah, I have to get
for my
money, look
people.
out for my people. Gave me kind of like a Roddy Ricch / Kevin Gates / Jaquise little bit vibe.
Yeah.
Which I'm not. AT laughing, but it's just like I'm not mad at that. The only thing that threw me off just a little bit was the production, and not the quality of the production, but the production sounded like it was from an earlier era, and I'm wondering if that was on purpose or not to kind of give it like a nostalgic vibe.
Or, I mean, that's a good point. Maybe it was on purpose. Maybe he had just been working on this music since 2016 or something like that. Maybe it's just like it's a project that he has been in the making in a while. It's his first project he dropped. You never know how long some of these artists spend on that. But I agree with the comparisons right there. You know what I mean? The Jacquees and the Kevin Gates, like that Southern type of like thing going on. And you're right about the money thing. A couple of them bars in there, he talks about like put money in the college fund for the baby,
Yeah.
and then like he say something like, getting money is just what I gotta do or whatever. Like he just talks about a lot of that stuff and about like the specifics of being in a situation. AT, did you listen to it too? Did you have any standouts at all?
I would have to say the Quicksand that you were saying earlier, that is one of the singles, one of the earlier drops off the project. I enjoy that song. Yeah, I mean, I agree with some of the Willie comparisons. I would kind of throw the Rod Wave kind of similarities in there for me, just for the soulful element of it. Roddy does do that as well, very well. I think he kind of combined that. And I think here you go. Bro, you're not discriminating on size.
Hey, I'm down.
Please don't. I'm a bigger
take the bias
guy.
away.
I know I'm trying to like lose the weight, but
fat shaming.
Hey man, you look good, bro.
be fat shaming. He be like, Willie.
No, we do not fat shame here at the Daze.
No,
so
we
stop it right now. I think both are talented musicians. Yeah. I enjoyed this project. I'm definitely interested to see where he goes with this, whether he has kind of like, because you got to think of people like Blast. When I first started hearing Blast a lot, he was feature heavy, kind of on like some Ty Dolla $ign thing where he had this kind of Nate Dogg presence on the hook. You know what I mean? Where you hear him on the hook, you know it's him. So I think Murray has the
here we go.
I think Murray has the potential to kind of deliver that kind of element to some of his features. So I'd definitely be interested in seeing where he goes, where the Cole feature at. Maybe maybe he's on the off season. You know what I mean?
That would be crazy, man. Cole ain't got no features. Chill out.
How you know? You seen the
Cole
track
just
list?
started doing features again.
People, and I feel like personally, they childish like this, and they just be posting stuff. There was a lot of stuff building up to like this announcement where it was like they talking about the album, like Cole saying stuff like my confidence so high, like it's like 2 days later, all season on the way, I couldn't stop myself, like, and it's like, all right, bro, like, and they talking about this stuff, bro, but yeah, bro. And I saw recently some people with Dreamville was posting some memes about the fact that Cole went platinum with no features and went double platinum with no features and stuff. So I'm assuming that's just like, they just like, they alluding to the idea that Cole trying to do it again. And he's talking about like, hey, he gonna do numbers that other people can't do with a double disc and all that stuff. And it's like, these shots, I don't know. But it's like he about to just try and go platinum again, I feel like.
J. Cole why not? Like, I need Chris Brown to try and go platinum with no features. You can't do that, can you, Breezy?
Yeah, we're not gonna talk about Chris Brown.
And we know Willie's history of J. Cole hate, so we're not gonna talk about
like
that.
All right, no.
Shift it.
Have you listened to the track?
Which one?
Shifting away from the album of the week. Have you heard the interlude?
No.
Yeah.
The interlude went #1, just so you know.
Did you listen to it?
Cool.
I listened to it. I'm not the biggest J. Cole fan.
I remember Smillz saying that too.
Yeah, I mean, but what I respect about Cole is just like when it'd be so much noise going on in hip hop, but when he drops, people listen. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
From Lil Pump to Jay-Z, you know what I'm saying? They listen. Everything just freeze. And I feel like you got that type of presence. J. Cole got that type of presence. I mean, you just gotta tip your cap to the man for sure. Same thing with Kendrick, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I feel that.
Hey, yo, why Smillz talk about J. Cole like it's a eulogy, like he died? Like one thing I remember about J. Cole, when he just speak,
he just had a presence.
If he had a presence,
that anti-J. Cole. That's the anti-J. Cole couch over there.
It's the truth.
One thing I really, that man really stood on his stood 10 toes down.
Oh my God,
nobody,
man.
And anytime,
Will,
he could
shut
admit
up,
when
man.
he was wrong.
You can't even talk about. You ain't even listen to the track, man. What were you gonna say before that though?
Cole.
No, one thing I was about to say, I was just trying to write this situation that AT saying I'm a J. Cole hater.
No, you are.
I'm not. I've never. There's no record of me ever.
There's no
saying
record because we
I
talked
hate
about it off
saying
the
J.
air,
Cole.
but yes, we talked about it.
There's a record on the podcast as well, guys.
Then we playing
gotta
that
find
the
that.
next episode. Or
Okay,
something.
AT, damn,
Because-
slow down, man. Slow down, AT. Slow down.
Man, I'm joking.
Hey, yo, he can't sip tea, he sips water. But but for real, my biggest gripe with J. Cole, and y'all know this, is the production ended up to me sounding the same over the years. I remember my whole position changed when KOD came out, and then he would not switch up his flow, and I hated that he tried to sing all his hooks. That was one of my biggest pet peeves. And after he did some features, switched up. I was like, because at no point did I ever say the production was bad. I just said
I didn't
it was
say
the
that.
same. Yeah,
I'm saying you
And
don't like J. Cole. That's what you're saying.
I love the bar. I love the bars. I love the storytelling. And
But
I just
Okay, hold on. So I remember when we talked about this. The flow thing came up. You said your whole position changed with KOD because of the flow thing with KOD. And then the singing thing came in with For Your Eyes Only. You know what I mean? With that album in particular. If you look at it, these are all, I mean, these are just switch ups in between albums. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I respect your opinion, bro.
I respect your opinion.
But you can't say you can't.
What are you laughing for?
You can't.
I respect your opinion, but I he was about to go into
yes, he was. You can't stand by the notion that you don't. Hey, J. Cole.
J. Cole, I love you, man.
Don't do this, bro.
Jermaine.
Don't do this.
Jermaine.
Don't do this, man. What you ain't listened to is number one. Okay.
It's an interlude, by the way.
Yeah, it's an interlude. AT, did you have any thoughts about it? I know you bumped it.
Honestly, you know me. I'm a Cole fan, and it ain't hitting, but it is an interlude. So I gave him some leeway.
Yeah.
I feel like when he dropped Forest Hills Drive, there was no singles for that.
No,
what am I talking about?
Yeah.
But I feel like one of his what was the single for KOD? Or
KOD.
There was no singles.
Nope. That dropped out of nowhere too.
I feel like
I feel like ATM was a single.
ATM. Oh well, it wasn't. It was used as a single. Same with apparently with Forest Hill Drive.
Okay.
It wasn't pushed as a single, but it became.
It was pushed as a single after it dropped though. Like it didn't drop as a single, but I feel you though.
I feel like he maybe I heard apparently first because that's what I'm thinking of. I feel like I heard apparently first.
No, but I remember.
But
that.
That's what I'm saying. But I feel like whatever his last single offering was, I didn't.
It was
like
something. It was. We talked about this before because we used to live together back around the time when Forest Hills Drive dropped and everything like that. About a lot of these when people dropping these singles, it's like J. Cole's dropping like the worst song in most cases off as a single. You know what I mean? Pushing the worst song technically, you know, as some people would look at it as like a single. So I don't know. Plus, it's an interlude. I agree, though. It was a little different vibe, but if anything, the one thing I could pull away from it was the production on it was dumb. You know what I mean? The one thing about like the drums was crazy. You know what I mean? I was looking into the production. I think T- might have handled the drums. I don't know. I think Cole had some credits on it as well. And somebody else. Who was the third person?
I think I don't know his name, but I believe from what I was reading on Genius, it said that I got to pull it up because essentially whoever co-produced with T-, he basically has this style of production where he makes custom samples. So that sample in the beginning isn't like some old school shit. It's him singing into a mic and kind of sampleizing it and looping it and whatever.
That's pretty crazy.
Can I say something real quick?
What's
All
up?
right, y'all.
Yes.
This is I'm gonna switch off topic real quick. And we're gonna get right back on. So like speaking of production, y'all hip to Chloe and Halle.
Yes.
So I was watching like Chloe's like page of her like making her own stuff, and man, she good. Like she good, and she did like her own sample with her. Like she recorded her voice and then like made it the sample for it. I was like, yo, you gotta respect that.
Me and AT were talking about this a couple weeks ago. I think there's somebody else that does this as well.
And his name was Tommy Parker on the Cole track, just to get
okay.
love.
Good luck. Shout out to Tommy Parker and T- and Cole on the production on that beat. But it was another person. I don't know. I can't remember who it was. Another producer or somebody else that made their own samples for some of this stuff. I just can't remember who it is. But I'm hoping that becomes a trend going forward. You know what I mean? Because there's a certain aesthetic that comes with the samples and stuff like that, dealing with some of that stuff. And then if you're able to create your own, you sort of avoid a lot of the, the red tape, or whatever you want to call it, when it comes to trying to actually release that music.
Definitely.
I know, as a DJ, do you ever, I know, because you can like distort stuff and do your own thing. Do you ever like find yourself live or find yourself building a mix where like you end up like creating a sample out of a song or something like that?
Oh man, all the time, man. It's just especially like looking at different genres of music. Skating rink music is nasty. I mean, like the way they're able to just flip a sample and then just turn it to some. It's amazing, honestly. Like, I mean, you got these cats in like Chicago. They're from Chicago. Oh man, I'm drawing a blank now. DJ Niles, Autumn, Bryce. Man, I mean, these cats killers, man. I'm serious. Just roller skating music like that. But
That's crazy.
just making a sample of like what I've all the time I come across, but I don't have that talent to like throw it into a, it really, you know what I'm saying? That's why I'm so like when I hear these cats, especially like I mean in general in music, just how they're able to just flip a sample, turn it on his head, it's amazing. It's really amazing.
So
Sounds blessed.
when you be doing it, can you say like different genres and stuff like that? Do you have like a favorite genre you like to like flip, or a favorite era of like music that you like to flip? I don't know. Some people like early 2000s hip hop where it's like Aaliyah, Ashanti stuff, Beyonce. Some people like 90s stuff where it's like Sade or like, In Vogue or that type of stuff, or even some of the more recent stuff. You know what I mean?
80s. I mean, just a lot of music that we listen to today Grandmaster Flash, he said it best with the interview, I believe it was. It wasn't with the Breakfast Club. I can't think of it right now, but he was like, man, just so much music just came straight from the 80s that we just, we hear it. We just don't know where it's come from. I mean, it's amazing, honestly. Especially they had like limited technology back then. That's what made it so crazy.
The first 808 machine, the first synthesizer type thing. Like,
yeah. And then, we can't forget about Jay Dilla. You know what I'm saying? Rest in peace, the king. But you know what I'm saying? Like, crazy. Just crazy.
Dang, man.
Smillz, have you ever tried to produce?
Yeah. And I'll stick to DJing. It might be something.
That's how I felt when I tried to start producing. I was like, I'm not do that.
Man,
why?
Like,
what was the hardest part about it?
Just, I remember like when I was starting up in quarantine was starting up. I was like, well, I got some free time on my hands, but I feel like I just got to be in the correct environment. My room wasn't like the best environment for me to get a creative process. So I over the winter, switched up my room. I feel like I feel like I could pick it back up but I just need the time, you know what I'm saying? Just finished up with finals and everything. And just I hopefully I can pick it up. I want to pick it back up.
I feel you. Hopefully you find some time, man. Cause
for sure, man.
I can imagine if you was doing like some sample stuff and
Smillz has the ear for it. That's why I asked. Smillz definitely has the ear for production. We also touched on a little bit the fact that in an earlier past episode with Denzel, we talked about how difficult it is to pick the single as well. Do you think what's our process on picking a single nowadays, guys?
I don't know. For me, if this is hypothetical,
of course.
But I would just
Willie album coming soon.
never. I am performing in August though.
What?
But yeah,
and you coming here in July and we producing an album. So
I maybe. So
yes, you are. Awesome.
I'll feature on like maybe like a Gonzi.
No, you about to really be in there in the booth with Gonzi making a whole on some future Drake shit, bro. You about to chain this man to the couch. Hey man, get in
record. That's slavery is over, everybody. Slavery is over.
We do not condone slavery.
We do not condone
You free
slavery.
to go. You free to go.
He gonna be like, after this hook, then you can get some food.
After you mix this trash.
I'm like, I'm hungry. But no, on a very serious note, when it comes to like selecting a single, I feel like you get a room of people you trust sonically and actually debate about it, like, and not like argue debate, but like this should be a single because blah blah blah. Okay, so maybe, but I think this will work because blank, and then those like-minded ideas come to a conclusion of this should be the single, because I feel like go ahead.
I like that, and I also think that that same process is actually larger than just about the single, because we talked about this with Caden. You know what I mean? We mentioned like MJ having like making like 100 tracks for Thriller or something like that. You know what I mean? And everybody in this case, if you're an artist and you're making music for an album, you're trying to tell a story or whatever you're trying to do with this album, you're gonna make more than enough to try and fit pieces that may or may not be needing to be filled. You know what I mean? You'll figure that out once you have everything laid out in front of you in terms of the tracks. But once you have everything laid out, whether it's 30, 40 tracks or something like that, 20 tracks, whatever it is, and you have that group of people, the group here that you trust, you know what I mean, sit there and bump this music, listen to it, debate about it, critique it, feedback, figure out which sticks, you know what I mean, and be like, okay, You know what I mean? I feel like during that process where you're picking stuff out and pulling them out of the hole, and then you're placing these down as the cards you're gonna play. In that process, the single sort of reveals itself. You know what I mean? It just through time. You know.
Are people not doing that anymore? Because again, we talked with Denzel the other day, and he kind of said, "Hey," Willie asked, as a matter of fact, "Hey, why isn't the artist's favorite song the single?" And we had that same kind of point with Cole, where it's like sometimes Cole be picking in some of his worst songs.
Yeah.
I forget who other artist this was a few months back that did something similar, where I was like, that single isn't the best track on the album, nowhere close to it. And it's just like, people aren't sitting down like this. I don't know. I have no idea.
I feel like if the whole process of, I mean, you get your, well, let's say the album like 8-9 songs.
Right.
Sometimes the album's too damn long. I'm not gonna lie.
Facts.
I be skipping through some joints. I mean,
Smillz don't like the deluxe album.
yeah, man. Seriously, I'll give it a try.
And you know, LeBron
man.
James, he created
Double duck.
the
Shut up, bro.
Yeah.
Shut up, man. Stop.
Shout out
man.
LeBron.
Stop, bro.
But I
No
was like,
LeBron slander on this show.
It's not slander. LeBron created the
Don't
deluxe
do this,
album,
man.
bro.
All right, man. Go back
You
to
know,
your
you're not messing with Brian?
Don't do
No,
that.
I love Brian.
Don't.
It's a whole nother
It's
joke.
slander.
No, it's not.
Go ahead. You got to your point, bro.
So it's just like, I feel like first of all, the songs gotta mix into each other. It's gotta make sense. You can't just put like I remember with the Quavo Honcho Dreams album, it was a nice flowing album, and then at the end he had like some salsa Afrobeat song. I was like, okay, I mean it worked. It was like but it was like it was cool little joint, but I was like, where'd this come from? You know what I'm saying? Cool little album. I think that album slept on. Out of the 3 albums, it was like the last Rocket, the last Rocket. It was Honcho Dreams, and I forgot what Takeoff's album or Offset's album was.
Was it Father of Four?
Father of Four.
Father of
Yeah.
Four was cool.
Wait, they
Cole
got 4 kids?
Well, I don't know if it's all by Cardi. It ain't all by Cardi, you know.
Because they only got Culture.
Yeah, they only got the.
That was
That is the name. Yeah. But yeah, he had all them in the picture, and that's the only album I actually bumped, because I was only about my bump so far out of all 3 of them. I need to bump Takeoffs, because I know Takeoff low-key slept on too, because he just don't get no
couldn't
love.
get into it.
Hey man, I'm gonna have to bump it. Takeoff's features on other songs be hard. I be like, he be spitting, but it's like, I don't know what he can. No. Migos is Migos, man. They don't do their thing. But yeah, Offset had that feature with Cole.
Okay.
But
And then it's like the song selection gotta make sense. Like I mean, the 21 Savage album that he recently dropped, I just wasn't a big fan of it. I mean, but when it comes to just dropping singles, as y'all was saying, I feel like the singles should just set the tone for the whole album. I was listening, like with Flo Milli, I'm a huge Flo Milli fan. Oh my gosh. If she watching this, hit me up. Please, Lord. Man.
Link.
Serious. But I was like, she dropped them 2 songs. I think it was like the Beef remix and Up in the Party. And then she had then I get to the album, I'm like, it made sense.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
yeah.
I listened to the album like 6-7 times because it's a good flowing album. It's a good album. I'm a huge fan of her and what she doing. I hope she goes to the next level with what she got going on. But yeah, it's just the 2 main rules. It's gotta flow. It's got to make sense, and just the song, the single you drop has to set the tone for the rest of the album.
It's got to really be like a good preface for like, what do you expect when you put on an album on shuffle? Even what I mean, like what kind of vibe you about to get? That's fair. That's fair. And plus, I agree with the cohesiveness, like from track. And most times when I listen to that album first, I talk to AT about this a lot because we have an album of the week every week. First time I listen to an album, I start at track 1, I don't shuffle it, and I listen to it all the way through. You know what I mean? From first track to the end, and just to understand, like you said, like the flow and like the cohesiveness and like the storytelling of the album, whatever they're trying to do, like I want to be able to get it for real and get what they're trying to get me, you know what I mean? And see if I can understand it. Sometimes it worked. Sometimes people, like we talked about this, the one album a couple weeks ago, AT's choice.
And that's where we have to. Sorry to cut you off, but
he is not sorry. He is not sorry to cut you off.
That's where we have to literally what y'all speaking about, that cohesiveness, that rhythm. These are things that make and define what we used to call an quote unquote
An
album.
Yeah.
But people aren't really dropping out. They're just putting everything streaming.
That's fair.
You making money off of everything. So it's like, is it just a playlist? Look at Drake's whole
the
More Life.
More Life.
Yeah, More Life, where it was just a playlist.
It was a playlist.
None of those songs fit together.
Yeah, it was
cohesively.
literally a playlist. And to your point, 21's last album, Savage Mode, is what you're talking about, Savage Mode 2 with Metro. That's I would consider that a mixtape. You know what I mean? So I agree. It's not necessarily, you almost like you post to shuffle it. You know what I mean? Like there's no cohesiveness to it, except part that makes it like the interludes. You know what I mean? That's the only thing, like the bleed over the beat. But it's like a lot of the songs, like it flip up. Like I remember the track with Drake, like that's a complete come out of nowhere to me.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, that don't even fit on the album. Like I skip that track every time. You know what I'm saying? Why is that there? It's just
I didn't even make it that
Drake.
far down.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
It was bad.
It's like the third track. It's like, but I'm like, that's what I'm talking about. I feel you 100% on that too, because there's no way you can actually take in if it's a message. If it's an album, I presume there's a message or a statement behind it, whatever you're trying to put. You know what I mean? And if it's not cohesive, I'm not gonna be able to understand it.
Check this out. It's like you meet a girl for the first time. You know what I'm saying? Y'all texting, talking, and she talking about something. You can come over. And then it's just like, all right, you know,
come over.
you excited.
Come over.
Like that's the all.
I love when you like meet a girl, y'all like have prayer meetings. Yeah. Go ahead.
No, we coming over. Nah.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, like
yeah. But you coming over,
And then it's that could be like the artist, like, oh, I'm about to drop a single, and then so when you come over, her, for example, this didn't happen to me. With a girl, like her house be messy, you know what I'm saying? I'd be like, oh, you know what I'm saying? Then you really start looking at the girl like, wow, I got a whole different perspective of you. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and then they drop. Same thing with them dropping. You like, oh, you about to drop?
Yeah.
And you like, oh, and then you really start looking at them like,
skip. I gotta go. You know what I'm saying? I done did that before. I didn't have one of my bros hit me up like, yo, man, it's not looking right, and I don't want to be in this situation. So
he said, hey man, my dog calling me. He need my help.
Why do people do that?
I gotta
bro?
go.
Like you can just say, hey, I'm leaving.
It's so uncomfortable, man. It's such and then so
hey, I'm leaving. I don't want to be here.
She gonna be like, why? He gonna be like,
I don't want to be here.
Hey, bro, I ain't got it. I ain't got it in me, man. I remember it got to, I don't know who was watching this, man. Oh my God. But it got to a point where I was like, my pants was on the floor and I was like, damn, what if something crawling on motherfucker? And then my pants start walking out the door. You know what I'm saying? They gonna get up and walk. You know what I'm saying?
Wait, your pants did start walking out the door?
They gonna be standing up in the corner. You know what I'm saying? Like, God dang. Ooh, man, that's what I was like. I don't feel comfortable. You know what I'm saying? Jeez.
Smillz is a DJ. He want that rhythm. He want that flow. Not only with the music in his natural
daily
life.
Yes.
When it's not there, you got to get out.
Yes,
you gotta dip out. Whether it's some music, you got to skip that song.
Yeah.
If you at somebody's crib, you got to hit the door. You know what I mean? You just got to make it move.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? For your own good.
That's how I felt with the 21 Savage album. It was just a messy room. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
That's a really good way to put it. It's just a messy room.
That was a great analogy.
Yeah. A tornado flew around my room before you came.
But I think I don't know how we keep ending up in this similar kind of discussion every Unscripted, where it's like album, project, mixtape. But again, y'all know I'm a Jay Critch fan. He just dropped that Critch tape, and it's literally called Critch Tape.
Hey, he got that from Popcorn.
And here you go.
Hey.
Fixed tape and Popcorn did that well as well.
Yes, he did.
As well.
A similar cover art as well. I'm not going to cap any further. I'll let you keep going.
It sounds like it's no cap.
It did have a playlist vibe. You know what I mean? Where it's like, when did we start really seeing the more playlist vibe besides More Life? I guess. But getting back to where I was going is, I think Critch, all the mixes, again, it's called Critch tape. Mm-hmm. The mixes don't sound consistent.
No.
The songs played in order don't sound like an album.
No, at all.
And it works.
Which
is,
can I argue?
Because he called it a tape.
Can I argue? Which is the opposite of what a mixtape is. mixtapes.
It's supposed to be like Savage Mode, where it's like the beats kind of bleed
into each. It mixes into each
but
other.
But still, like even again to the point, you know, they kind of messed that up too. But it's whatever. But I feel you though. Again, are these definitions changing? You know what I mean? Because mixtapes back in like late 2000s were completely cohesive. They were like the most cohesive. They were more cohesive than albums.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because they had, I feel like artists had more freedom and they just took the freedom and ran with it. You know what I mean? To create incredibly cohesive album. Like a kid named Cudi, you know what I mean? Incredibly cohesive. You know what I mean? A lot of those dedications, mad cohesive. You know what I mean? It's just,
it was a lot of yelling on those.
Hey, that's like, drama. And he created that. He the reason why Khaled yelling.
Run that back.
Hey.
Like, yo, please.
Again.
Please, can I get the no DJ version, please?
No, for real, man.
But, keep the DJ there, just don't have him yelling.
But I feel like over time, you know what I mean, early 2010s, like the early 10s, I feel like that water of like what a mixtape was started getting murky. And now it's like to a point where it might have changed completely. You know what I mean? Like we have so many different, like we talk about this all the time. Again, like AT mentioned, we talk about this like every show. But so many different classifications for these pieces of work. You know what I mean? I know the other day, Corday said my next body of work is called this. I'm like, bro, don't add another one. Don't add it's called an album, called an EP.
I mean, but they're all so it's the same thing with like project though. It's just, but like projects are body of work. But then like
body of work is like an umbrella. Same with project. You know what I mean? So it's like it's like is an EP eligible for a Grammy? Yes or no?
Obviously, yeah, because we saw her get it.
Then we cannot. It's like I need to find a clear space in here somewhere. But like it's just you know what I mean? I feel like with the mixtape thing, like with a tape. I mean, look at Chance, you know what I'm saying? So I'm like, a lot of these things, like, all the definitions of them are actually changing because the Chris tape is like a playlist. There is no cohesiveness to it at all. You know what I mean? It's weird. You know what I mean? I'm interested.
Chris list.
It basically.
I wanna add on to what you were saying. You saying like in the 2000s, like I think artists they took pride in like you know they work. You know what I'm saying? Like. I think Jay-Z had dropped a Dynasty album in 2000. He had Memphis Bleed, Beanie Mac, all of them, and they just came crazy. You know what I'm saying? Memphis came out with his solo album, crazy bars. You know what I'm saying? They best work. You know what I'm saying? And they took pride in that. I feel like that pride is kind of just it's not there with these newer albums or newer artists. You know what I'm saying? It's just like you know, it's a check. You know
I'm
what
about to say where's the pride? The pride in the numbers, you know what I mean? Not
necessarily it's just numbers
in the work no more. Yeah, like you said back then, man, it was about who was spitting the hardest, like who was really going, because that was like your respect. That got you paid.
Yeah,
for real. You know what I mean? It's just the public understood, but like now it's like I don't know. Why is that? Is it because hip hop is more commercialized?
I think artists don't have that. I say this in hopefully the most polite way possible, but artists don't have that fear anymore. I feel like I think artists
that hunger.
But I think it's
like
also
the fear
a fear
of being
like
checked.
this may be my only shot.
Fear of being checked for your bars, like being like, oh, you're not really
all
rapping.
Of that.
There's a lot of people out here that did get checked and it didn't matter. So that's why. You know what I mean?
And I think there's that fear, like, if I do this, like you know how like J. Cole put out the whole like let Nas down thing.
Yeah,
most artists wouldn't even have cared.
Look at Wiz. Wiz, like I talk about this all the time. Like Wiz is like he talks about it openly in these interviews back on Taylor Allardyce. When he talked about it, you know, in those interludes, he's like, dude asked him like, oh, how do you feel with people calling you a pop rapper? And he's like, all right, like I pop up and make $1 million, like you know what I mean? And he's like, yeah, you know what I mean? It's like I feel you, bro. It's like I'm not. And he talks about openly about I don't want to be the best. I want to make money. I'm trying to get paid. You know,
just
what I mean?
Own it.
Yeah, and he's like, it is what it is. And other artists looked at that, and he's still on it. That's why he be making whatever they want him to make. He'll feature with whoever they want him to feature because it's gonna get him paid. But again, back then, I feel like that's because, like to my point, I just said, like that question, is it because it's more commercialized? You know, hip hop now is basically pop music. Like you hear trap drums, I would not be surprised if I heard Katy Perry on some trap drums. You know what I mean? She might already have tracks like that. You know what I mean? It would probably go.
Dark Horse.
You know what I'm saying? Exactly.
Yeah,
Juicy J is on that. And that's
Bieber's album was hip hop and R&B.
You feel me? And that's like the epitome of it is like you see it bleeding over and I'm not mad about it either. You know what I mean? That's because it's become hip hop is that's where it is now. 20 years ago. Wow, 20 years ago. 20 years ago when those albums were being dropped, hip hop was in a whole nother light and it was mainly like grunge. It was mainly streets. Like people, you had to know what you know. You know, you had to be in the know about what was going on to even know what hip hop was and understand it. You know what I mean? Nowadays, it's the internet. You know what I mean? White kids and look at Jack Harlow. Like dude from the Burbs. Like white kid came out making rap music. You know what I mean? Doing well too. You know what I'm saying? So and he can spit. So it's like. You know what I mean? A lot of stuff like you see that it's the evolution of it, but
I also think that, and I'm sorry.
No, I just had a question.
Go ahead.
Is there still a market for that real hip hop? I mean, is there? You know what I mean? And
yes.
I think. Well, also it's like what is real hip hop to you? But and you get a different answer from different age groups because it's still dudes that live here that will swear up and down that '88 was the best year in hip hop, and it will never be a better year than '88. Which I totally disagree with. '88 was not the best year in hip hop. It was a for lack of a better phrase, a seminal year in hip hop. No, seriously.
That was when it broke through. Yeah.
But when it comes to that, I think real hip hop. I mean, look at the likes of like a Donald Glover / Childish Gambino, where like dude comes with bars. Like,
but people be like, that ain't hip hop.
Yeah, and people will say that ain't hip hop, but it's just like, how do you get more hip hop than this? And really, when you look at hip hop, we don't even keep the four cores of what hip hop really originally was when it came out. So you got dudes talking out here like, oh, that ain't real hip hop. I'm like, I don't see nobody b-boying.
Yeah.
Ain't none of this stuff. Ain't none of this hip hop.
And also, but like the thing is like, okay, so you see, AT said yes to that question. I can name off some folks. Yeah, Griselda. About a second. Name off some folks that are able to do it. Benny. I had a dream about Benny last night. Crazy. Benny Butcher, Conway, Cole.
Featured, didn't he?
What? No.
He's featured on the song.
No.
He
Cole.
Wishes. That's why I
you know what I
dream.
mean? People consider Kendrick, being like real hip hop. But is there a market? Like, there's a market for people doing pop rap. Like at any,
and that's okay.
At any stage though. Like there's like a major market. Like even if you like Rich the Kid and it's like you coming up and you like in this lower tier, mid tier, or if you're like Wiz or something like that, or even if you mad lower, maybe like a Doja Cat breaking through into that middle tier, trying to bust through. You know what I mean? Getting these features and stuff like that. Uzi is just like steadily just eating. You know what I mean? Dude don't even be dropping stuff half the time. You know what I mean? But it's the pop rap you can eat at any level. When it comes to the grunge rap, it's harder to market that. So I think about it, you know what I mean? The market is lower, you know what I mean? Because it's purely streets at that point, you know what I mean? So like the lower tier, like, are they able to eat until you break? You have to be like an amazing artist. You have to be like the top of the top of like Conway, Benny, like Cole. I'm naming off the best of like the past 10, 15 years, you know what I mean? In terms of that rap. So it's like, how do you eat? Is there a market? Like, do you blame people for turning pop? You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, because they can't eat otherwise.
And that was kind of my point when you first kind of started along this vein, where you did kind of say, "Hey, the best rapper was recognized and paid." And my rebuttal for that was not necessarily. You know what I mean? Memphis Bleak. Smillz brought up, where's Memphis Bleak at? He might not. Yeah. You know what I mean? Look at Joe Budden. Look at what Joe Budden had to do in order to get to where he is now. You know what I mean?
Like a worst song.
Exactly. One of his worst lyrically recorded songs, but it's his hit. You know what I mean? And that's what got him paid.
I think there's a market for it. Like, for example, we got a Pimp a Butterfly by Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah.
His pop or mainstream hit off that album was All Right.
Yep.
That's why I say it got the most radio play and everything like that.
King Kunta or
King Kunta?
King Kunta and All Right. Yep.
Yeah, those are the two.
And then, but you go deeper to the album, you get like hood politics, you know what I'm saying? You talking about some deeper, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I feel like, and then when Kendrick came out with Damn, the album, and his first like single was Humble and DNA, I was like, okay, it set the tone. I knew what I was getting into. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Loyalty was the second one.
Loyalty. Oh man,
he was good with the. He's a really good example of what you're talking about with how they drop the singles specifically to show you what you get yourself into.
Yeah, exactly. And then even though that might have been his best received album,
you feel me?
It's the one that got him a Nobel Prize.
I don't like that album.
That's one of my favorite Kendrick albums. Actually, he hates that album.
Yeah, I'm not a fan.
I'm not the biggest fan of it. I think Untitled, Unmastered, slept on criminally.
Ridiculously. Yeah, I agree. Kendrick is, man, you forget.
Is it because of the way he dropped it though?
And it's unmastered. It's not mastered.
No,
it's unmastered. I mean, but like, even though it's unmixed, you know what I'm saying? It's
the aesthetic.
It's the aesthetic.
You think about like, my bad, cut you off. But like Kanye with Dark Twisted Fantasy, he had a lot of similar aesthetics in there where it was purposefully mixed either like in a distorted way or unmixed. You know what I mean? Just to get the aesthetic off. But yeah,
it was like
We're not gonna get away with that just because it's Kendrick though. Because last week we sat here and it was album of the week.
He also called
on that album because it was.
He also called it. But believe it or not, his shit sound better than his unmastered. So don't even talk. But he also said it was unmastered. It's not like he said this is my EP and it was like unmastered. And it's like, what the fuck is this, Kendrick? But he was like, this is unmastered. And he had a bunch of tracks in there with no titles. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I agree. But to your point, what you said, if it was how it's dropped, I think no.
Okay.
Because I go back and I listen, like that's why it's slept on, because you have to go back and listen to it for real. You know what I mean? And you understand like how much heat really in there. But you can go back to your point.
I feel like if there's a person that hasn't listened to Untitled, Unmastered, and I mean, you got some tracks that's just memorable. Like I mean, Childish Gambino tried to do it with like the 01. You know what I'm saying?
That you drop on on March 15th.
Yeah. With the timestamps and everything.
Yeah, I was like, I mean, but like, it just none of those songs really. Because I was thinking he went from what was it called? What was his first?
Awaken My Love. Oh, you mean the first one, Camp?
Nah, I mean Camp and
Cul-de-sac?
then internet because of the internet.
Because of the internet. Yeah.
So that's when I really started listening to him.
Okay.
So he went from that to Red. It took me a minute to get into Awaken My Love.
Yeah.
It took me a minute, but I got into it. I was like, it was like, but when I really listened to it, I was like,
hits though.
Crazy.
Stupid. You know
crazy.
What I mean?
And then when he went to that, this new, I was like, it's not.
It's so weird though. But and we talk about this a lot too. Like Donald Glover, I'm a fan of his, like as a person. You know, a lot of his creative stuff he does, whether it's stand up or the writing stuff. He's just cool. But stand up, he did a stand up special a long time ago, and he talks about music. He talks about how much he loves this weird music. He talks about how much that's why he like Kanye and Lady Gaga and stuff. And he was trying to like, he made it like he had a little bit about going to a Lady Gaga and Kanye concert and stuff. So he's talking about he expects all this weird stuff,
robots and teddy bears,
and people and all this stuff, and dicks doing this and all. He was talking about crazy stuff. But then he's talking about, and when he says that, when I look at it then, like that's like 10 years ago. 12 years ago, you know what I mean? He was just getting into music. That's when he made like his first album, Camp. I don't know if you've heard it. It was maybe two
or Bonfire that had Bonfire.
Yeah. So it was around that time. Cul-de-sac, which is the mixtape he dropped right before that. That was around that time. So it's like you see his transition, him wanting, like him saying, I want to make weird music. I'm trying to. And he's just the progression to there from like Kauai, Stone Mountain. You know what I mean? You look at the progression where like he continuously gets like more and more into like his comfort zone, which is completely out of everybody else's comfort zone.
Yeah.
So, you know.
But he owns it.
Exactly. You know what I mean? Similar to anybody that's doing anything different, doing anything that people may look down upon. If you own it, it's a different level of respect there. Even like with Wiz. Like, yeah, I'm a rap and I'm going to talk this shit, but like, you know what I'm here to do. You know what I mean? I'm doing my thing. You know what I mean? It is what it is. You know what I mean? I'm not going to deny it. You know what I'm saying? Same with Kendrick being like, you know, people look at, and when all this stuff first dropped, same with Childish Gambino, there's not a lot of promotion about how crazy it's about to be until it really dropped. You know what I mean? And it's always a shock. Like, damn, was kind of crazy. You know what I mean? A lot of stuff that's going on there. Same with Awaken My Love. I remember when it dropped, I was in Miami with this dude, and I was like waiting for it. You know what I mean? And then it dropped. I'm like, whoa. Like, I thought he was going to be spitting. Like, what is this? You know what I mean? It took me like weeks, maybe months, you know what I mean, to really like come around and listen to it without any bias. You know what I'm saying? But is that part of like the single drop? He didn't drop any singles with that. You know what I mean? So
nah, I mean,
I thought Redbone was a single.
Redbone was a single.
Did it drop by itself?
I don't know if it dropped by itself though.
I can't remember.
Okay.
But
I'm not sure.
know.
I think it did, but I'm not.
I think you might be
100% sure.
With me and just like albums in general, I'm so slow getting to these albums. I wait for like the every hype and everything to die down. Then I'll be like, all right, let me give it.
That plays a factor, as Stacey was just saying. That plays a factor into your listening experience. Even us doing the album of the week every week, that plays an a bias on our listening experience. I've noticed that when I've tried to make like my playlist updates every month, there is that kind of bias when I'm going through an album, when I'm going through something, and then I hear it kind of outside of like, hey, I'm trying to use this for this purpose.
Yeah.
or listen to it to hear this, I realize, hey, there's a few more tracks I missed, or hey, I don't really like that song as much as I thought I did. That type of stuff pops into my mind. So again, we're in such a weird time of like, how do you deliver something that is going to be properly digested the way you want it to?
A lot of people,
especially with the internet,
a lot of people add in other aspects and visual aspects and stuff like that, and that again changes the dude. There's been times I listen to a song and then I don't like it at all, and then I go watch the video. Man, that's like my favorite song. You know what I mean? Because I was like, it's the energy. I just see it, and it's like I associate everything in that song with the energy from that video. Sometimes you need that in order to really deliver the message or deliver the the vibe you're trying to really get. You know?
Yeah, you know who real slick with it when it comes to videos is Amine.
Man,
you know that you listened to that last album,
Amine?
Limbo. I mean, I wasn't a big fan of the deluxe.
Yeah,
you don't like deluxes for real.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like,
hey, y'all, like for real, he really actually.
I don't like deluxes.
Like, there's been some deluxe tapes that I've enjoyed, like the Lil Uzi. The Lil Uzi deluxe tape. I was like, all right, it's cool. I actually really enjoyed it because it had a couple of songs on there. I can't think off the top of my head.
I feel you,
but.
His deluxe was more of like a whole new album.
I felt like it was like 20.
Credit him.
Yeah.
To credit him, his shit was like, I feel like he had the whole concept behind his deluxe. So to him and his team, like he did it a little bit better or a little bit different, which again switched the perception of it.
And then Limbo, it's just like, I mean, man, and then with the videos too. I mean, I'm not that big of a fan of R&B, but that joint with Summer Walker and then Easy. It took me a minute I used to just skip over it, and then go into the Becky song, and then I was like, oh man. I mean, but he's just such a creative individual.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to his future projects. Definitely,
I agree, man. I was actually
he hasn't missed once, in my opinion. Hasn't missed once, and even again when he came up. Think about his perception and why he's kind of received the way he was. I believe going into this album, he kind of felt a little underrated. And when this album dropped and it got the reception it did, I remember seeing him on Twitter like, thank you guys so much. Like, I've never felt this before. And I'm thinking the whole time, like, this is a dude that dropped a smash. Caroline, when that came out, that was a smash.
I thought it was over for him after that. I thought,
but
we're not gonna hear from him.
Again,
it wasn't
over
him,
from
though.
him.
Yeah.
Some people think he's only pop artist because of it.
That wasn't all him. Yeah,
you see the video and you're like, is this dude? You know what I mean? Is he a little funny? Is he a little gay? No disrespect, no homophobia or anything like that. But it's like it's interesting.
Damn.
You want to know more. So when he dropped that, I believe it was called Yellow is the album.
Yeah.
When he dropped that project and it had the Nelly feature, I was like, yo, this dude is killing it. This dude, shout out to him, shout out to his video, shout out to his music. It did remind me of like an early Childish, honestly.
Yeah. When he got more into the rap, you know what I mean, is when I really started becoming a fan of his. The 1.5, you know what I mean?
1.5, yeah.
Limbo, both of those albums are like my hype, you know what I mean, off of there, because he's just spitting. He really spitting. Even in his melodies, I feel like you're right. He felt slighted off of Yellow because of the fact that he might have been considered a pop rapper or another type of, maybe not as lyrically gifted as maybe he felt he was. And I feel like he stepped his game up in those next two albums. That's why he dropped it as 1.5, because he's like, I'm taking a step forward, and then I'm dropping Limbo because I'm moving to the next chapter. And I feel like he did it lyrically. I feel like he did it musically. You know what I mean? I feel like his stuff turned up. At least I know I became more of a fan of him after those drops. You know what I'm saying? In terms of his content. So,
but I mean, this is a totally different subject. But like, is there like, there's been like a conversation on Twitter. I've been seeing it happen. Like, is hip hop ready for a gay artist or like an openly gay artist?
I've had this conversation with some people before too. I think it's super interesting, man. You know, we talk about this a lot. I don't know, man.
We're not here.
I mean, really,
y'all seen the Lil Nas video?
Lil
right?
Nas is here. Again. That's more pop. That's more.
That's more pop.
That's not necessarily.
Okay.
I'm talking about
like
hip hop. Like somebody rapping, bro, but they gay. Like young M.A. Young M.A. is the closest thing we have right now, and she's sitting heat. But she almost leans into it, and she'll say stuff like, yeah, suck my dick or something like that, and laugh about it, almost in the track, knowing like people gonna be mad about it. Like, man,
and look at how she's perceived. Look at how she's
But she's also completely independent. No label. Would a label
Mm-hmm.
stand for that type of shit going on? You know what I'm saying? This is actually a real conversation. I don't know if okay, so I think people, personally, I think people are ready, but I don't believe the industry is ready. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I don't think the people that push stuff out are ready to take the risk. You know?
And I think that was some of the things behind M.A. They didn't know how to, when they were strategizing her debut, like they didn't know how to market it because of where she sits in the game.
And she's not like Pride, you know, she's not walking around like pride flags and shit like that. You know what I mean? So it's it's a different energy. You know what I mean? She just it's interesting. I don't know. How do you feel about it? Do you think so?
With me, if it's hard, I'm gonna play it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
feel it. Yeah.
You know, and then, shit, I was gonna say something, but I forgot. Fuck.
Oh my bad.
But yeah. I mean, I think that's a conversation that should be had. I mean, just like if you delivering bars or if your stuff is tough, your shit gonna be tough. It shouldn't matter what people. I mean, it's 2021 now. You know what I'm saying? I'm ready to hear some new music. I'm listening to. I mean, we got. I mean, Prince. I mean, he was. They called it androgynous.
Androgynous.
Yeah, I mean, but like
he was like basically asexual or whatever. I mean, well, that man was getting bitches. But I ain't gonna go. You know what I mean?
But it's just like, I mean, if you putting out quality content, I'm here for it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Same with like female. I mean, we call them like female rappers. These rappers. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
but
rappers,
it's just,
bro.
you know what I'm saying? Like Rap City. You know what I'm saying? She hard.
It's
you know
interesting, man, because like when you come to a female rapper, do you call them a female rapper because of content? Like some female rappers that they're rapping, like Young M.A., I almost don't consider her a female rapper. I don't really, when I think about her, I don't see her as female rapper because she ain't talking about female stuff. You know what I mean? It's like
it's more like so you basically have like the content.
It's almost like context. That's where it goes. You know what I mean? Because like pop rapper.
Would you sell if that part wasn't?
If you weren't saying like something about.
But you consider somebody like Trina a female rapper.
I'm the baddest bitch type of stuff. I might lean into like a female rapper situation. Or Meg is female rapper to me because she's almost like because of the aesthetic. Like she's not gonna fall in line with like rap. She's gonna fall in line with like pop, other female rappers. You know what I mean? With like pop rapper and stuff like that under that umbrella, not necessarily like streets rap. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I get. At first I was gonna disagree, but I was just like, I mean, there's some rappers that males that I don't think is rappers. Like,
you feel me?
I mean, there's some rappers that I'm starting to take a little bit more seriously. Like, for example, Lil Baby.
Yeah.
I didn't take him seriously at
Same.
first. I don't take Gunna seriously, but I'm starting to take Lil Baby a little bit seriously. You know what I'm saying? His last album,
he was spitting.
He was going hard.
In his features, he's actually spitting. You know what I mean? Spitting bar. That's what I'm talking about. Like it's like, and it's funny enough you mentioned that. You mentioned him and Gunna in the same realm. Lil Baby's come. I don't know if you know this, but he's come out talking about when he first started it, he needed help, and he had Gunna writing his raps.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So he was basically like Gunna 2.0. You know what I mean? And then he sort of got into his own wave, and now he's rapping about his own shit. You know?
And then I like the way how he like, he kind of low-key idolizes Jay-Z, just tipping the cap to the OGs. You know what I'm saying? I respect that. And then the Baby, I'm starting to take him a little bit more seriously too. I mean,
I feel like he realized. I mean, he broke the door through the pop rap thing, and then
and he's nice at what he does. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's something that I can just throw on and just listen to. You know what I'm saying?
Let's go.
That's tight, man. Will, did you so I mean, I meant to ask you about this. Do you feel like the industry is ready for a homosexual rapper? Like for like somebody to come in and be like, yeah, I'm gay, but I'm rapping. Like I'm rapping about I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'll say it like this. Hip hop is not ready for a musical artist of color to be
okay.
That is male.
Okay.
To be openly LGBTQ plus. I'm not sure why. I think as Black people, we are like one of the few cultures that tends to like just match people's personal lives up with their craft, and that goes both in a positive and a negative sense.
Yeah, it's hard.
Like we all, like people just don't disconnect it in any way, shape, or form. We do it with everybody else. everybody else. We don't care what they do. And
I have some points.
No, go ahead.
Just because I feel like hip hop is based off of the basis of hip hop was talking about your own story. So when you talk about your story, and then if your raps and stuff in your life it don't match up, you know, there's a sense of like you're playing something else. Hip hop is about being real. You know,
I would argue that's what blues is.
That's fair too, and I feel like the same goes with blues. If your life is not matching up what you're talking about in your song, it's like people might look at you a little differently. Like, okay, unless you address it, you know what I mean? So,
like,
I don't know. I mean,
like my baby didn't really leave me. Like,
hey man, I
my baby didn't leave
like,
me.
I just get inspired from other people's stories, and you say it. Like Cardi had to come out and be like, yeah, I'm not writing my raps, and I'm be 100. You know what I mean? It is what it is. And same with all these other people, and they step in front of it, and they're like, yeah, it is what it is. You know what I mean? This is what I do, and this is respect. Same with Baby was like, I don't need to change my flow up. Y'all still buying this. And then he did it change his flow
He
up.
doing what works.
Exactly. He was like, I'm a businessman. Same with Cardi. Like, same with if somebody were to do it. That's why it's like, I feel like that's why hip hop is like
6ix9ine. Look at 6ix9ine.
You know what I mean? It's a similar situation where it's like, I think that's why. That's why hip hop is like that. Not necessarily the black community, but blues and hip hop. But in particular, if you want to trace it back, I mean, it could be based in the black community because of the fact that, you know what I mean, we use music as a way to express ourselves. All the stuff that we've been through throughout time. We've always used music to express ourselves. So when the music don't match up, you know, it's a point of being real, you know what I mean, and being real with yourself. So when it doesn't match up, there's an issue, you know, unless you address it. So
I don't know. I just think from what I've witnessed, like back in middle school, it started off with middle school. My one friend, he came out, and we was already homies before he had came out. So when he had told me, I was like, all right. I mean, you know, that's I mean, I can't switch up on you now because you know that's if you want to be. I think at the time he came out as bisexual, I was like, cool. You know what I'm saying? If that's you, you know, same way. Like if my friend came out and was like, hey, I want to start this business. Hey, that's you.
Deal.
You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna support you. You know, do what you know what I'm saying? And then when it really got bad when it came to high school, cause like that's when we had another friend, my other friend, his name was Tim, and he was openly, I don't know, with political correctness, like he was openly gay. And then there was my friend now, her name is DeVelle, and she's transsexual.
Okay.
So I remember it would be times because I used to hoop. So, but it was like before the hooping season, they'd be walking home, people would try to jump them and stuff, you know what I'm saying? So it'd be times where it'd been like once or twice where I had to walk home with them. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying they got hands, you know what I'm saying? They was ready to scrap. You know what I'm saying? But it was just
like they had to go through that in itself.
Yeah, and just having to witness that, I was just like, man, and then just seeing it like on Twitter, like people just openly bashing people is just
so
like
crazy, bro.
Man, but then again, times may have changed. I don't know, but like that's just what I experienced, you know.
Also, with hip hop, it's so dominant. It's why female rappers have a hard time breaking in. This is why other genders, I mean not other genders, but other races have a hard time breaking in. And I would assume other sexuality is going to have a hard time breaking in. It's because it's so based around like the black male experience, you know what I mean? So it's like black men rapping, you know, that's what it's about. And black man's experience, what they dealt with. But every time somebody breaks through, you know what I mean? We can look through past. Okay, look at Lil' Kim, look at Trina. You know, spitters. Look at MC Light, spitters. You know what I mean? They had to be the best of the best in order to break through. Look at Eminem, one of the best of all time. One of the only white rappers for like 25, 30 years in hip hop. You know what I mean? He had to be the best. He's considered to be the best. You know what I mean? He had to be in that conversation in order to break through and have the success he had. And then I feel like it's going to be the same thing for a homosexual rapper. They're going to have to be amazing for people to have to look past it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or just appreciate the bars for the bars, you know? Whatever their situation may be, whether they're homosexual, maybe a Pakistani rapper or something like that. You're like, yo, this is like same with Nav. You know what I mean? If he was trying to rap, you know what I mean? It would be a different wall in front of him, just because of the image. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so, I mean, it's just like it's crazy because like I feel like, for example, like Kevin Durant just came out, was like, oh, I'm sorry, Katie. Like if he was like, oh, I'm gay, that doesn't take away of this dude's a baller.
Yeah,
you know
right.
what I'm saying?
Ball, right?
That shouldn't. Then I feel like and then compare that to like a rookie that's getting drafted, and then he was
Whole
like,
different PR
yeah,
situation.
and he was like, oh, I'm gay. People would be like, oh, he's, strapped about, oh, he's shitty. You know what I'm saying?
I think that's a little different because, like, in basketball, people's opinion of you doesn't affect how you perform. In art, it totally does. Like, I feel like people will not buy your album if they feel a certain way about you. You still can drop 80 if people don't care about you. That's like you can still bring the stats.
Yeah, if you built for that.
You can't get on the court though.
You can't even get on the court if the team isn't willing to sign you because so many people don't like you.
That's also bad PR. That's bad PR to them.
And that's why the rookie will have issues other than Kevin Durant because he's established. You know what I mean?
And this makes me think of I don't know the name off the top of my head, but there was a football player that came out as openly gay, and he had a very hard time because no one wanted to sign him to a team.
Yeah, and all the players, because also that culture, trying to let in somebody different. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's so based around like, this type of this person, this type of sexuality, and then you see somebody in there that's gay in the locker room. You know what I mean? That's where a lot of them was getting uncomfortable, and they were like, I'm not really cool with that. And teams were like, well, it's just one dude versus the whole rest of my team feeling uncomfortable. I'd rather just chalk the one dude.
I think it's because we live in such an assimilate or exile society. Like it's one or the other. If you do not assimilate to what we believe, what we think you should be, what the way you should move, we're gonna exile you. And I think a lot of that is rooted in the Catholic Church. And it's maybe a convo for another day because I know we're going a little long on here. But like just the fact of like if you don't conform 100% to how we operate, you're out of here, and that's no way to be. That is exclusionary instead of being inclusionary.
I think putting that umbrella over the entire society is a lot.
No, I know.
But but it definitely in a lot of these industries, and if we want to be specific, we talk about like Black culture, because we adopted a lot of the Catholic Church principles when we first got brought over here, and that's why that stuff is so strong. That's why the homophobia thing is so strong in the community and all that stuff, and gender roles are so strong, because we just came out of it, a couple, like 100 years ago, a couple generations ago. So, I understand what you're saying. But I definitely feel like, the fact that we talking about it, it means other people are talking about it, which means that, we're on our way to change. The fact that, the football player was able to, I know you're talking about it, I can't remember his name either, but the fact he came out, is enough. The fact that we have people like Eminem that are considered the best is like steps towards change. And as well, like the conversation of like what is hip hop now is also good for hip hop. Because we have people that have to drop music. We need more hip hop to drop in order to define and clarify the question. So
quality.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm looking forward.
Evolution is there.
Exactly. Speaking of with Cole dropping next week. That's exciting. Hopefully that starts an avalanche of momentum of other big artists in his lane dropping, like Kendrick or Drake or something like that. Drake still got his album on the shelf.
Outside.
Hey,
I'm outside this summer.
I'm hoping that we start getting some more music, man. So we can answer some of these questions.
Where did that come from? What did I miss? Because everybody posts that right now. Like we outside with it. What does that mean?
Because we wasn't outside.
Let me just say something. Y'all love outside so much.
Who is y'all?
No, I'm just speaking in general. That's the days.
You be hollering. Remember, you're on the screen by yourself, bro. It's not like you be talking to us, bro. You be talking.
I'm talking to the world, man. I'm talking to everybody, man. Y'all love outside. Now we can go outside, but we outside right now. This is Daze Unscripted. Y'all got any last points, any last words, or we out?
No, man. It's a good time.
Another beautiful show.
It's a good talk,
Catch
man.
Us.
Great talk.
Thank you, Smillz, of course, for coming on Unscripted. Stay tuned for his regular pod episode airing later on in the following week. Stay tuned every Sunday. We'll be back next Sunday, 2:30 Eastern Standard. Let's go.
Peace.
Yes, sir.